Hello, I'm Shivam Thakrar,
I'm Daniel Bergquist.
and today we'll be presenting on the Mirai BotNet.
So the Mirai is the Japanese word for future, and the Mirai BotNet is a malware worm that turns Internet of Things devices into zombies that can be controlled by an external computer.
Yeah, and it used a dictionary of common default account password combinations like admin admin or default admin or admin password and stuff like that to brute force Wi-Fi routers and all of their IoT devices connected to them, basically to get into them.
The main vulnerability that the Mirai virus leverages is weak default passwords on Wi-Fi routers and Internet of Things devices. And these pictures are of some common Internet of Things devices that the Mirai botnet infected, like Philips Hue light bulbs and Ring home security cameras and Nest smart thermostats. And when these were connected to the internet, this allowed the botnet to use them all at the same time to uh, execute a DDoS attack on websites.
The systems were affected were that Mirai initially affected different types of IoT devices, however, contained a specific list of IP addresses, a whitelist of sorts, to avoid while making the attack, as it was searching for different devices to infect. So if we look at the image here, we see that they avoided things like General Electric, HP, the US Postal Service, and as well as the Department of Defense to stay as hidden as possible. Mirai itself has been modified and scaled in many different ways, so that after the leak of the source code, about a few weeks after the initial attack, so a lot of cyber criminals have taken to the streets and essentially scaled it so that it can go to different devices like laptops and or other different types of devices. And another interesting thing that Mirai would do is that it would search the infected device and clear out any existing malware that already was there on the device after installing itself, essentially to claim the entire device as its own. It wouldn't let anyone else in, and if it was already there, it would kick you out.
The Mirai botnet was first surfaced around August 2016, but it didn't get much traction until later. Cybersecurity professionals started seeing DDoS attacks orders of magnitude larger than they previously thought possible. A normal DDoS attack is used by like 10 to 20 gigabits of traffic per second, but the attacks that Mirai was capable of executing were on the order of hundreds of gigabits per second. One of those attacks was on the website of uh, famed security consultant Brian Krebs, and his website was taken down with 623 gigabits per second attack. And the French ISP OVH was taken down with an attack that topped out at about 900 gigabits per second in September 2016. And the next major attack after that were the DIN attacks in late October after the leak of the source code. And this is a timeline of the attacks executed by the Mirai botnet, starting in late 2016 and the most recent ones in February of 2017.
So, what were some of the countermeasures taken against Mirai? So, in about 2017, the original authors of Mirai were arrested, specifically one known as Paresh Shah, who claimed himself to be on a senpai on hack forums, where he had leaked the source code of Mirai and was fined for about $8.6 million. At about the time of the attacks, you really couldn't do things like traditional mitigation methods like bandwidth expansion and or traffic redirection, simply because we were reaching traffic levels of gigabits per second, which as Daniel had mentioned earlier, so none of it would really work to the level that Mirai was dishing out. And so essentially the best way to get Mirai off of your device was to change the default password and the account name and essentially restart the device. So the ultimate moral of the story is that if you do have an IoT device, the best thing you can do is to change your default passwords on your Wi-Fi routers and other IoT devices, as well as disable all remote WAN access to your devices.
So to make the presentation portion of this project, we used Google Slides, and for the screen recording and voice recording, we used OBS.
Yep, and these are some of the sources that we used for the information that we used in the presentation, and we hope you learned something today. Thank you.